Fishbone analysis is an improvement tool that is used when a group of practitioners wants to determine the root causes of a problem. The purpose of this video is to support regional English learner specialists in understanding how to conduct a fishbone analysis while engaging with regional partners around a particular problem of practice. When engaging in a fishbone analysis with an LEA or a school, there might be slight differences. Here are some sample problems of practice you might be investigating with your region. First, 53% of LEAs are eligible for DA for English learners in our region. Next, there are 70 schools eligible for CSI and ATSI for 3 or more indicators in our region. Or maybe our region had a 4% reclassification rate in 2022-23. Or lastly, 67% of English learners scored at the standard not met level on the 23 CAS ELA in our region. The first step of a fishbone analysis is for all team members to silently brainstorm what they believe to be causing the problem. Be as clear as possible. In this example, we will model using the following problem of practice. In Region 10, 15% of the EL items reviewed were issued findings during the 22-23 school year. When brainstorming causes of the problem, instead of stating something like awareness, you could add clarity by saying EL leaders are not aware of FPM requirements. If the team is meeting virtually, each person will turn off their camera and write down all of the causes of the problem. They will turn their camera back on to signal that they are done. If the team is meeting in person, each person will have a stack of Post-its and will write down one cause of the problem per Post-it. Here we have an example of the results of one team member's silent brainstorm. He is processing reasons why the region had findings on 15% of the EL items that were reviewed. Some of the reasons he comes up with are: LEAs are not aware of FPM requirements. ELs are not a district priority. There is a high turnover for EL leaders. EL leaders do not attend county workshops. Designated ELD is not occurring. ELACs are not properly comprised. ELs are segregated from EO peers in secondary settings. And finally, districts are using Title III funding for core programs. Once all team members have finished their individual brainstorm, it is time to share out and cluster. If the team is meeting virtually, you can use Jamboard for this next step. This team is determining the root cause of why the region is experiencing a high number of findings on the EL instrument. Select one team member to read their causes one by one. If none appear to be related, they will be separated into their own group. In this example, the first team member has yellow Post-its. They place them on the table or the Jamboard and read them aloud as they are placed. When the first team member is finished reading their causes, the next team member reads their causes one by one and groups their ideas with their teammate when similarities exist. The second team member in our example is using blue Post-its. The first cause, limited understanding of EL requirements, went into its own group, but the team felt that the second cause, there is no district lead for EL programs, was similar to the yellow Post-it, English learners are not a district priority, so they were grouped together. We can see how the rest of the causes were grouped together as the second and third teammate presented their ideas. The next step is to label the clusters. As a group, determine a categorical label that describes the ideas in that cluster. Each of these labels becomes a main cause category. In our example, the team labeled the first Post-it as lack of systems for ELs, the next group of Post-its as ELs are not a priority, the next one as LEA leaders lack capacity to effectively lead EL initiatives, the next group as lack of high-quality designated ELD, and the last one as lack of understanding of FPM requirements. The last step in the fishbone analysis is to prioritize the root cause categories. The team will work together to determine which root causes should take priority based on 1, perceived or known severity in which the root cause is having an impact on the problem, and 2, the amount of influence RELS and COE leads have to impact the root cause. For our team example, where they are exploring the root causes of why the region has a high percentage of EL findings, they determined that they had the most influence over 1, the lack of understanding of FPM requirements, 2, that LEA leaders lack capacity to effectively lead EL initiatives, and 3, the lack of high-quality designated ELD. The team did not feel they were able to greatly impact the lack of LEA systems for ELs or the fact that ELs were not an LEA priority. Now that the team has determined the root causes of the problem they are experiencing in their region, they can develop high-impact actions to deploy and metrics to measure the impact of the actions on the problem of practice. On behalf of English learners throughout the state, we want to say thank you for engaging in this process with your region. It really means the world.